Hey Sagittarius, it's Rebecca from Being Human Tarot here with your March 2019 reading. This month I'm sticking with the same 3-card spread that I've done in past months. I know I talked about switching up, have not yet. So as a reminder, that means the first card stands for what to focus on this month. The second card stands for what to set aside for the month. And the third card is just an additional consideration for the month. This month I'm reading with the Enchanted Tarot. It's an anniversary deck and it's very large. You can see how big these cards are. I'm not sure if the regular non-anniversary edition, I forget how many years the anniversary is, also is this large, but it's kind of cool because you can actually, it's like the largest, I've never had a deck with cards this big, and there's actually quite good amount of extra detail you can fit into the illustrations, as you'll see. So that has been kind of cool. Yeah, so we'll get right into your reading. In your position of what to focus on this month, Sag, you drew the 10 of Hearts. Which is, it's the final card in the Hearts/Cups suit in a traditional deck. And it's this in both decks, and the Smith Rider-Waite and this Enchanted Tarot, you'll see this family who's just sort of like jovial. There's some dancing there. There's a few different generations of people. And it's about like this high level contentment we have when we're not from an abusive family and we're like with our people, so it doesn't have to be family, right? And just the energy we get off that, and contentment. I keep saying contentment, but and like the sheer like love we can feel in that situation. And so this month, that's a great thing to encounter this month. It could be with friends, like I said, chosen family, actual family. If you have like an awesome work situation, maybe this could even show up at work where you're just like, your team is doing great. Everyone's supporting each other. Never worked in a job completely like that, but I mean, like, some people must, right? So that's a great thing to look forward to this month. If that's not happening this month and you get to the end of March and you're feeling kind of discouraged because you're like, I thought I was going to have this like awesome bonding experience with people I love, that is an indication that you need to kind of look for it a little bit yourself, and that you're potentially not noticing some of like the good things that you do have in your life. And that's not like I don't mean that like in a chastising kind of way, but I think that sometimes we can overlook the thing. I mean, like, I know that I'm like hella pessimist, and so I often think this is a big struggle, an ongoing struggle I have. So if that also is kind of the way that you tend to naturally operate, it is a good time to check in and remind yourself of like the things that are going well and like what that looks like. Because it's not, because the thing is, it's sort of like this row. It's like 10 hearts, right? Because it's hearts here rather than cups. So 10 hearts, 10 cups. They're kind of like 10 blessings. And just, I mean, honestly, this sounds kind of corny, but like maybe even write down 10 things you really like about your life. That's just an exercise of, living harmoniously this month with this card and all that it indicates, to kind of like remind yourself what you do have going on. And again, it's not to say like anytime I say anything that's like count your blessings, it's not in like direct competition or trumping bad things that are going on by any means, because it's a very real, and sometimes like culturally things are like bizarre. Like you've probably heard me complain before about like positive vibes only. That's super unhealthy. No one exists in like one emotional state only, and to try to is that shit. So don't do that. In your position of what to set aside this month, you drew the High Priestess, which, if you know a little bit about tarot, you might be wondering why you would want to set aside the High Priestess, because she's witchy and intuitive and knowing and in touch with things. But it could be, honestly, that you're not your own best advocate or best friend this month for whatever reason. And so the thoughts that you could have coming in, and like the whole trusting your gut thing, works when you're not in like a state of hypercriticism of yourself. So you want to trust your gut up to an extent. You don't want to trust your gut if you're having mad anxiety about things, because then you would just be believing every thought and worry that comes into your head. And I mean, that's just simply not true. We all get in phases like that sometimes, right? And we can't just take it as law, or else just like we would be convinced that everyone hated us, or like we do nothing good, we had no value, you know, like that we were the worst people ever, and that like everything's terrible. So I guess rather than set aside your intuition, as like maybe check your intuition this month. Make sure that it's serving a helpful function rather than just a self-critical one. And finally, in your position of additional consideration, you drew the King of Swords. Which kind of ties in with your set aside and with your focus, because the King of Swords is being direct and honest with people, and this tends to be more of an external thing, whereas we think of the Queens being a little bit more internal, like not blanket statement or anything. But in this case, it seems like a lot of what you're going through this month is dealing with your own sort of inner stuff. I mean, isn't it what we're always going through, like, all the time? But the specific, like, set of inner stuff makes me think that it's a kind of underscoring, like, be honest with yourself about the positive things going on in your life, and be honest with yourself with your own like little negative thought creations, and your need to like remove those to be able to fully get the benefit of the King of Swords, and be able to just kind of like cut through the bullshit and move forward with being like a productive, happy member of society and your own life. So that's it for this month, Sag. I hope that you found it useful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. If you subscribe to the channel and then hit the bell icon, you'll be automatically notified as soon as I upload this suite of videos for all the signs, which I do before the 1st of every month. Just speeds it up, makes it easy, simplify it so you know when your video is ready. And that's it. Thanks for joining me, Sag, and I hope to see you next month. Bye.